Generating an invoice in Artsystem5 for individual or groups of works is an efficient and straightforward process that can be approached in several different ways. The first step is always to determine which works are going to be sold. But once the list has been established, it is possible to initiate the invoice from a variety of different starting points. First and foremost, an invoice is a type of transaction record. New transactions of any type, including invoices, can always be generated from within the Transactions module itself. Click New Transaction Record, and then select Invoice to begin the process. The Add New Record wizard will guide the user through the complete process from here. Click Next to select Sold To and Ship To contact links, followed by a Works selection screen. If records are already marked in the Works module, these will be passed along for convenience, but it is still possible to add more from a worksheet, view set, or choose records from the entire Works module. After confirming the Works records, click Finish, and the new invoice has been created. Aside from the Transactions module itself, it is also possible to generate an invoice from within the other modules as well by using the Transact shortcut in the preview window. For the Works module only, records are gathered and marked directly in the spreadsheet view. When the appropriate records have been marked, mouse over Transact in the preview window for any selected work record and click Invoice. The first screen presents a choice between passing the individual record that is selected versus the complete set of marked works. However, once this screen is passed, the next two steps are identical to creating a new invoice directly from the Transactions module. And note that any marked works are conveniently passed along to the new transaction. If works are already marked, then it is also possible to use the same shortcut to generate an invoice in Contacts by clicking once on a record to open its preview window and then clicking Transact and Invoice. In this case, the application will skip the contact selection screen as it is assumed that the previously highlighted contact is intended to be used for the Sold To field. When the works selection has been confirmed, click Finish, and again, the new invoice is created. For the Artists, Editions, and Exhibitions modules, there is a similar process for selection, but for these modules, the works must be selected from within the associated record detail. For instance, if an artist is selected, the Transact menu is available, but will not respond to works previously marked in the Works module. Instead, open the record detail and click on the Works tab. A grid will load which includes all the works associated with that artist and the ability to mark these records. When one or more available records are selected, creating an invoice is possible by clicking Transact and following steps similar to those which have already been outlined. Finally, let's review the completed invoice record detail from within the Transactions module. Note that all transaction detail forms contain similar elements. Starting from the top, there are fields for Sold To and Ship To addresses. These fields will contain links to contact records if selected during the invoice creation process, but they can be updated at any time by clicking the associated Edit or pencil icon and selecting a new contact. For convenience, there is also a record lookup button, the arrow, which opens the linked contact in a separate tab for reference. In addition to the linked contacts, the top section also includes fields describing the transaction item number, shipment status, and a lock icon. The lock works in conjunction with user security permissions and will prevent further changes to a transaction unless it is unlocked by a user with edit permissions. The main body of the transaction window displays a spreadsheet grid containing the list of works included. Records can be added to the grid by clicking to highlight the blank available row and clicking the eye icon. Or records can be removed, again by clicking to highlight the row, pressing the delete key on the keyboard. Note that the affected row turns red, and then saving the changes. To refresh the grid after purging the items from the invoice, close and then reopen the transaction. Financial details can be confirmed in the grid for individual works, with the subtotals and totals recalculating as necessary. Value adjustments can be made directly on this form for retail price, and when saving, there is a prompt to update the work record with a new value entry as well. Discounts can be applied to the entire invoice or individual works as a percentage or negotiated terms. And multiple tax jurisdictions can be applied at the bottom. The transaction record also includes tabs for entering further details. For example, Notes provides plenty of space for large amounts of plain text entry. Be aware that these notes do not appear on any transaction documents and are displayed within the program only. Miscellaneous items like framing or conservation costs that are billed to the client can be entered on the Additional Details tab, and they will be included in the total. And finally, there is a Shipment tab that can include links to a carrier, special handling notes, and packaging information if necessary. The Shipment tab of any transaction also includes options for adjusting active status and location detail that will take effect when the transaction is shipped. It is also possible to click the Print button in the preview to generate a copy of the invoice paperwork. Which can then be printed or emailed directly, and will be automatically saved as a document attachment. Finally, when the artworks have been picked up by the shipper, the Shipped flag can be checked, and the transaction is closed. Note that on marking a transaction as shipped, the location of the included artworks will be adjusted to the selected contact address. Also, a line item link has been included in the Activity tab of the work record and contact, which can then be double-clicked to open the linked transaction. For more information about converting invoices from preceding transactions, such as offers or consignments, view our other tutorial videos.